Hello everyone, it's Glenda and welcome back to Creative Grandma. It's Stitch of the Week time and this week's stitch is number 77. So this is called the Interlace Granny. It's working with 3 sets of stitches, and that is the fun part about this pattern is because it works up so quickly. I enjoyed making this pattern so much that when I was doing my samples, I had to start a baby Afghan. I just absolutely love this stitch pattern, and I picked this Ice Yarns. This is that magic bulky that I bought because I love those pastel rainbow colors of that pink, orange, yellow, blues, and purples, and I wanted to see how it worked up. Now this stitch pattern here, you can see how nice and cozy soft this looks, worked up using this bulky weight yarn, and I used a size L8 millimeter hook. Now I'm just starting it. I started it today, so you can see how quickly this pattern does work up, and this pattern is going to be available shortly. As soon as I get it done and get the border on, I'm going to bring that pattern to you. But I just wanted to show you what it looks like made using this bulky yarn. I just thought it was absolutely an amazing pattern. I have 3 samples to show you today. Now this pattern here, this is a self-striping yarn, and that's what I like because I'm getting all the different colors of the pinks, the oranges, the blues, the greens, the yellows, and I don't have to change colors. And that's what I really liked about this particular yarn with this pattern. So let me show you my stitch samples. I have 3 more samples to show you, so let me grab them. Now this stitch pattern is a multiple of 4 plus 2. So if you wanted to make a larger Afghan, like say what I'm doing here, you would chain 4 a multiple of times, 4, 8, 12, 16, so on, until you get the width you want, and then you would add 2. So that's how you increase or decrease when you're using a multiple. Now my first stitch sample here is made using 3 different colors. I used this beautiful solid turquoise. I used a solid white. Now I did make the mistake of choosing a multicolor that had the same turquoise blue in it, so you don't get the full effect of the pattern like you do in this one, where you can really see the difference in the different rows. So this is my first sample, changing colors every row. All these samples here were made using a 4 medium weight yarn, and I used a size H8 or 5 millimeter hook for the number 4 weight yarn. Next sample is that solid white. I always like to do that crisp, clean, solid white sample, and that's what it looks. You don't see the pattern as much. You can tell it's textured, but it just doesn't show the true beauty of this pattern when you're using a solid color. I believe that this pattern is best using different colors to show the different rows of how pretty that stitch interlocks together. My third sample here is done using a multicolor. Now you can see the texture in this stitch, and the multicolor also creates its own design depending on where you start, but just a very, very pretty pattern. So those are my samples. So let's jump right into this. We're going to get started. I'm going to grab my yarn, grab my hook. I'll be right back. Now I do recommend that whatever yarn you're going to use for today's sample swatch, use whatever hook is recommended on the yarn label for best results. So I'll be right back and we'll get started. I have my yarn attached to my hook, and I just tie a double knot. Now for today's sample, I'm using Red Heart Super Saver, and this is the colored number 624 Tea Leaf. A beautiful, just nice summery green color. So to start today's sample swatch, we need to chain 22. Take your yarn over the top of your hook and pull it through the loop on your hook. That creates your first chain. Yarn over, pull through the loop, that's 2. Yarn over the hook, pull through the loop, that's 3. You're going to continue until you have a chain with 22 chains. I'm going to go ahead and make my chain, and I'll be right back and we'll get row 1 started. I have my chain with 22 chains, and now we're going to start row 1. To start row 1, we're going to start and work 3 double crochet into the 6th chain from hook. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 chain. You're going to yarn over the hook, insert your hook into that 6th chain from hook, yarn over, pull through that chain. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. You just made your first double crochet. We need to make 2 more double crochet into that same chain. Yarn over the hook, insert into that same chain, yarn over, pull through. You have 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. You just made a double crochet. We need to make 1 more double crochet into that same chain. Yarn over the hook, insert into that same chain, and work your double crochet. You have 3 double crochet into the 6th chain from hook. Now we're going to jump right in and start our repeat. Our repeat's going to be, we're going to chain 1, we're going to skip the next 3 chain and work 3 double crochet into that next chain. We're going to repeat that across, and we're going to end with 2 double crochet into the last chain for that last repeat. So I'm going to work this pattern step by step, stitch by stitch with you. So let's begin. This is the start of the repeat. You're going to chain 1, you're going to yarn over the hook, skip the next 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, insert your hook into that 4th chain, and work 3 double crochet. That's 1. Yarn over the hook, insert back into that same chain, work your 2nd double crochet, yarn over the hook, insert back into that same chain, and work your 3rd double crochet. That is the end of the repeat. So let's do the repeat again. To start the repeat, we're going to chain 1, yarn over the hook, you're going to skip the next 3 chain, insert your hook into that 4th chain, and work 3 double crochet. There's 1, yarn over the hook, insert into that same chain, work your 2nd double crochet, yarn over the hook, insert into that same chain, and work your 3rd double crochet. That is the end of the repeat. We're going to continue on. Chain 1, yarn over the hook, skip the next 3 chain, insert into the next chain, and work 3 double crochet. That's 1, yarn over the hook, insert into that same chain, and work your 2nd double crochet. Yarn over the hook, insert into that same chain, and work your 3rd double crochet. That is the end of the repeat. Now if you're working on a longer chain, you are just going to repeat that from the start of the repeat to the end of the repeat, and you're going to work over to the last 4 chains of the first row. To end row 1, we're going to chain 1, we're going to yarn over the hook, you're going to skip the next 3 chain, insert into that last chain, and you're going to work 2 double crochet. There's 1, yarn over the hook, insert into that ending chain, and work your 2nd double crochet. That is the end of row 1. Now if you're working in one color, you're going to chain 2 and turn your work. If you want to change colors, I'm going to rip out my last double crochet. You're working 2 double crochet into that end chain. I have 1 in the chain now. We're going to work our 2nd double crochet, and we're going to not work through that last loop. So instead of yarning over and pulling through those last loops, you're going to attach your new color. Now I'm not going to tie on right now, I'm just showing you for video purposes. I'm going to take my new color I'm going to pull it through those 2 loops before I finish that last stitch, and then I have my new color on my hook and I'm ready to start row 2. When you look at your work, if you've never changed colors before, you have to make sure when you pull that new color through that this stitch, the top of that stitch, is the same color as the rest of the row. And then you know you're ready to start. Now, if you're doing your stitch and you work that stitch and then you pull the new color through, what happens is that this loop here is the wrong color. So when you turn your work, that color is coming up into your next row and you do not want that. So I'm going to take this back out. I don't mean to confuse you, and all my experienced crocheters, I'm sorry that I go over all these little details, but for my new crocheters, it's very important that you know the correct way. So you can go ahead and tie your new color on. You just tie it here and then you pull that new color through. You can see your last stitch is finished with the same color as the row, and the loop on your hook is the new color to start the row. So let's go ahead and start row 2. So with row 2, we're going to chain 2. You're going to turn your work. We're going to skip this first double crochet stitch. We're going to yarn over the hook, and you're going to go right into that next chain 1 space and work a double crochet. Yarn over the hook twice. You're going to drop down to the foundation chain and you're going to insert your hook, bring that hook right down to the front of your work, and you're going into the center chain. That would be the second chain of those 3 chains that you skip. Insert your hook from front to back and take it all the way back through, yarn over, pull it all the way back through to the front of your work, and we're working right over top of that chain 1 space. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. You just made a triple crochet. You're going to yarn over the hook, you're going to push that triple back, you're going to go into the current row. You can use your fingers if you have to and just push that stitch right out of the way, and you're going to come back and work right underneath that chain 1 space of this current row where you made that first double crochet. Insert your hook underneath that chain 1 space and work a double crochet on the left side of that triple you just made. You're going to chain 1. Now we're going to start the repeat. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches. We're going to yarn over the hook. You're going to insert it right underneath the next chain 1 space and work a double crochet. Yarn over twice. You're going to take your hook to the front of your work, drop down to that foundation chain. You're going to insert your hook into that second chain, right into the center of those 3 skipped in the second chain. Take your hook all the way to the back, yarn over, pull it all the way back through, and you're going to work right over top of that chain 1 space, pull up a little, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. You just made your triple crochet. Just take your fingers and push that out of your way. Yarn over the hook. You're coming right in on the left side of that triple just made, underneath the chain 1 space of the current row. Insert your hook from front to back, grab your yarn over, pull it through, and work your double crochet. You're going to chain 1. That is the end of the repeat. So let's do it again. Yarn over the hook. You're going to skip the next 3 stitches, insert your hook into that next chain 1 space, and work a double crochet. Yarn over the hook twice. You're going to drop down to the foundation chain and you're going into that center chain of the 3 skip chain, which is the second chain. Insert your hook from front to back, all the way to the back, yarn over, pull through, and pull up. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. You just worked a triple crochet. Yarn over the hook. You're going to come back and bring your hook to the front of the work. On the left side of that triple just made, you're going to insert from front to back underneath that chain 1 space of the current row and work a double crochet. You're going to chain 1. That is the end of the repeat. And if you notice, we're working in sets of 3 stitches. That's why it's called the Interlace Granny, is because it's using that concept of the 3 stitches, and then you come and work in between the 3 stitches. So let's do it again. Yarn over the hook. You're going to skip those next 3 stitches, insert into the top of that chain 1 space, and work a double crochet. Yarn over the hook twice. You're going to drop down and you're going to insert your hook into the second chain of those skipped 3 chains on the foundation chain. Insert from front to back and work a triple crochet. Yarn over the hook, come back down to the front of the work, insert from front to back underneath that chain 1 space of the current row, and work a double crochet. You're going to chain 1. That is the end of your repeat. Now you'll notice that we're over to the end of our row and we are over at our last 3 stitches. We're going to skip those last 3 stitches and we're going to work 2 double crochet between the last double crochet of this last 3 double crochet group and our turning chain. We're going right into this space here. So yarn over the hook, insert into that space between the last double crochet and the turning chain and work 2 double crochet. Yarn over, insert back into that same space and work your second double crochet. If you're working in one color, you're going to chain 2. Now I'm going to rip this part out and show you how to change colors if you're changing colors with every row. So the process of changing your color is the same at every end of the row if you're changing colors every row. You're going to yarn over, you're going to insert into that same space, yarn over, pull through that space, you're going to have 3 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Before you pull that last loop through, you're going to attach your new color. You can just tie it around the end of this yarn and pull it up right close to your work. And you're just going to grab that new color and pull it through those 2 loops. When you look at your work, you have to make sure that the top of that last stitch is the same color as the row you're working on. The loop on your hook should be your new color to start the next row. So let's go ahead and start row 3, which is our repeat row. You're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and you're going to turn your work. We're going to yarn over, we're going to skip this first double crochet, you're going to insert your hook into that chain 1 space and work a double crochet. Yarn over twice, you're going to drop down 2 rows below, 1, 2, and you're going right into the center stitch of that 3 stitch group. Insert your hook into that center stitch right under the top 2 loops of that stitch all the way to the back, yarn over, pull it back through, and you're working right over top of that chain 1 space. Work your triple crochet. Yarn over the hook, insert back into that chain 1 space. You just have to take your hook because when you make this stitch it pushes it down, so just take your hook and push it right through between the current row and that row below and work a double crochet on the left side of that triple just made in that chain 1 space. You're going to chain 1 and that is the end of the repeat. So let's continue across. This is the start of the repeat. Yarn over the hook. You're going to skip the next 3 stitches, insert your hook into that chain 1 space, and work a double crochet. Yarn over the hook twice. You're going to drop down 2 rows, 1, 2. You're going to insert into the center stitch, the second stitch of that 3 stitch group, insert right underneath the top 2 loops, front to back, all the way to the back, yarn over, pull it back through, and again we're working right around this chain 1 space. You can pull up and finish that triple crochet. You're going to yarn over the hook. You're going to bring your hook down to the front of your work, insert your hook right underneath that same chain 1 space on the left side of this triple just made, and work a double crochet. You're going to chain 1, and that is the end of the repeat. We have 2 repeats to go before we end the row. Yarn over the hook. You're going to skip the next 3 stitches, insert your hook into that next chain 1 space, work a double crochet, yarn over the hook twice. You're going to drop down to the center stitch of that 3 stitch group. You're going right into the top 2 loops, front to back, all the way to the back, yarn over. You're going to pull it back through, and you're going to work a triple crochet. Yarn over the hook. Take your hook to the front of your work, insert from front to back underneath that chain 1 space on the left side of that triple crochet, and work a double crochet. You're going to chain 1, and that is the end of the repeat. We have 1 more repeat to do before we end our row. Yarn over the hook, insert into that next chain 1 space, and work a double crochet. Yarn over the hook twice, drop down 2 rows below to the 3 stitch group, insert your hook from front to back under the top 2 strands of that stitch, and work your triple crochet. Yarn over the hook, insert into the chain 1 space, the same chain 1 space on the left side of that triple just made, and work your double crochet. You're going to chain 1, and now we're getting ready to finish our row. If you have a longer length, then you just keep repeating that repeat across until you get to your last 3 stitches, that last group of 3 stitches. To finish the row, you're going to skip these 3 stitches, and you're going to work 2 double crochet between that last double crochet of the 3 stitch group and your turning chain. Yarn over the hook, insert into that space between the last stitch and that turning chain, and work 2 double crochet. There's 1. Yarn over the hook, insert into that space, and work your second double crochet. So that is the end of row 3. Now row 3 is our repeat row. This is the row that you will repeat over and over and over again for the pattern. You just repeat row 3. Now I'm going to show you how to do a finishing row. So let me grab my samples. So here's what we just worked. So now you're just going to repeat row 3. This is row 3. You just complete it over and over again. Now when you get your sample or whatever you're making, an afghan, a pillow, whatever you're making, when you get it to the size you want, you're going to do this finishing row. So now I'm going to show you how to do the finishing row, but you only do that when you're ready to finish your pattern and have that straight edge. So when you're working this pattern, it's the same as row 3, only we're working a double crochet into that 3rd stitch instead of a chain 1 and skipping the stitches. So let me walk you through the process of your finishing row, and then that's the look you'll have, a very nice finished professional edging. Because I want to change colors and keep that green, I'm going to bring my green back up to finish to keep my pattern. So I'm going to rip that stitch out. Now this is only if you're changing colors with every row, or whichever row you want to change colors, this is how you would do it. I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to work my second double crochet, and I'm not going to pull the last loop through. I'm going to grab my new color. You can attach it to your old color, and then you're just going to pull that new color through. And again, you can see how my blue stitch finished with the blue, and my hook now has my new color on to start the next row. We're going to start with the chain 2, 1, 2, and you're going to turn your work. Yarn over the hook, you're going to skip that first double crochet, insert your hook into that next chain 1 space, and work a double crochet. Yarn over the hook twice. You're going to drop down 2 rows below, 1, 2, and you're going to go into the center stitch of that 3-stitch group. Now once you get row 3 completed, then you're going to be working in the triple crochet. So insert your hook from front to back through the top 2 loops of that triple crochet and work a triple crochet. Yarn over the hook, insert your hook underneath the chain 1 space on the left side of that triple just made and work a double crochet. You're just repeating that same process. So now instead of chaining 1, we're just going to work a double crochet, yarn over the hook, into that center triple crochet of that 3-stitch group. Insert under the top 2 loops and work a double crochet. Yarn over the hook, you're going to skip that next double crochet, insert into that next chain 1 space, and work a double crochet. Yarn over the hook twice, you're going to drop down 2 rows below, 1, 2, insert your hook into the top 2 loops of that center stitch of that 3-stitch group, and work a triple crochet. Yarn over the hook, insert into that chain 1 space in the current row on the left side of that triple just made and work a double crochet. Yarn over the hook, you're going to skip that next double crochet, insert your hook into that next triple crochet and work a double crochet. That is the end of the repeat. So let's do it again. We have 2 more repeats. You're going to yarn over the hook, you're going to skip that next double crochet, insert your hook into that next chain 1 space, work a double crochet, yarn over the hook twice, drop down 2 rows below, 1, 2, insert into the top of that center stitch and work a triple crochet. Yarn over the hook, insert into that chain 1 space of the current row on the left side of that triple just made and work a double crochet. Yarn over the hook, skip the next double crochet, insert into the top of that next triple and work a double crochet. That is the end of the repeat. So let's do our repeat one more time. Yarn over the hook, skip that next double crochet, insert into that next chain 1 space and work a double crochet. Yarn over the hook twice, insert into the center stitch of that 3-stitch group 2 rows below and work your triple crochet. Yarn over the hook, insert into that chain 1 space of the current row on the left side of that triple just made and work a double crochet. Yarn over the hook, skip that next double crochet, insert into the top of that triple crochet and work a double crochet. That is the end of your repeat. You work that over until you get to the last 3-stitch group and you work that last double crochet. You'll have 1 stitch remaining and you'll have your turning chain. We're going to end the row with 2 double crochet between that last stitch of the last 3-stitch group and your turning chain. Yarn over the hook, insert into that space and work 2 double crochet. There's 1. Yarn over the hook, insert into that same space and work your 2nd double crochet. And that is how you do the finishing row when you get your project to the length or size desired. I hope you like this pattern. I just absolutely fell in love, and this is what it looks like with that big bulky stitch. Again, this is stitch pattern 77. This is called the Interlace Granny. Let me spread this out a little bit so you can see it. You're just repeating rows 3 over and over again, and then you do your finishing row when you get length desired. So make sure you watch for this cozy little baby blanket that will be coming up in about a week or two. I just have so many projects going on at the same time, but I just absolutely love this yarn, and I love working with the bulky yarns. It just makes you create beautiful things so quick, and it's just one of those things that it's just so soft and cozy. I just want to thank everybody for stopping by today, spending a little time with me and learning a new stitch. And this pattern is a free pattern. The link for this pattern will be in my description box. You can just click that link. You can go to the website. Now, sometimes people are not sure how my website works, and you have to remember I'm just a one-person show. I don't have the Real High Bucks website. So when you get on the website, when you click on that pattern, you click on the name of the pattern, and what will happen is a small file box will show up into the bottom left hand side of your computer. You click that file, and then it lets you download it right to your computer, and you can print that out, and you can just follow along in the video with me. Now, that also works when you purchase a pattern, that when you purchase that pattern, that file box will show up in the bottom left hand corner of your computer. So it's very important when you get on the website, make sure you create an account so all those patterns will go into your account, and that way if you lose the pattern, you can always sign into your account and that pattern will be there in your account. So thank you everyone again for stopping by. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you have fun learning all these new stitches. So until next time, happy crocheting.